God bless you. Glad that you've come to join us again for another Growing in Grace podcast. We are glad that you're here with us, and we'd like for you to like, share, subscribe this podcast with your friends, your neighbors, and if you have an enemy that you're working with, this podcast may help them out. And so we'd like for you to share this with as many people as you can. And we're glad that you're with us today. Today, we have a special conversation with some special people. We have our very fine friend, Elder Robert Reynolds, and his beautiful wife, Mother Jennie Reynolds. And we're glad that they're with us today. And our conversation today is about our true love, or their true love. That's the title, Our True Love, and they're telling their story. We've had Pastor Reynolds, and he was a military man, and they traveled and they had a very unique experience. And so we've had him on the podcast before, and he talked about being a saved military man. And then his wife has been on, and she's talked about being a military wife and traveling with her husband, but now we have them together, and two shall be one. And now we're in one podcast together, and so we're glad to have this opportunity for them to tell their story about their true love. So we're gonna start with the man. How did this begin?
Wow. We were young in the church, and I really had my eye on her, and so me not knowing what to do, I figured, what I do is I go around and I meet people. So I would go around giving people my phone number, saying, call me, with the intent of giving her my number.
Oh, you just doing it, man.
With the intent
just all the good folks.
With the intent of giving her my number, and so in getting her number, rather than ask her directly, I was gonna play and get it, and it didn't work. It didn't work. I had this great idea, and it didn't work. And
So, okay, how did that, just real, because this is not the main story, but it's kind of funny to me. But so what happened when you gave her your number?
I gave her my number, and she took it, and I think she threw it away. Because she said he giving everybody his number, he must be And so actually, her cousin called me and talked to her, and I got to talk to her through her cousin, and we had the conversation, and we kind of went back through, and we actually started talking to each other, and I when you're young and you growing up, and my wife is, I know everybody think I'm an old man, but my wife is a couple of years older than me.
Really?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, we have that.
Yes.
My wife is the same for me.
Yes.
Okay.
We started talking, and everything, and I told her that I was going to marry her. Right.
Well, when you do that?
Yeah, I did.
How early did you do that?
I did it too early. I did everything too early. Because I'm still in high school and working at the grocery store, and I'm telling her that I'm gonna marry her, and she's saying, "I don't know how you gonna do that. You still live with your mama, As time went on and time progressed, we used to I used to come out to see her, and everybody used to laugh at us because when we really started, back then, you couldn't really court. That wasn't allowed in the church. You had to kind of just come see each other, and so our dates were going to the park and going to Godfather's Pizza and going to the arcade. That was our Saturday nights consisted of that. Going from the park to the Godfather's Pizza and next door to the arcade. And so we did that for a while, and you know um, finally one day, and I know she always laugh at me because one day she had got off work and I came to see her, and I told her that I was gonna marry her, and I proposed to her, and I asked her to marry me, and she just bust out laughing, and she laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed. And I say, I'm serious. and she laughed and laughed and laughed. She said, you're not serious. I said, yes, I am. I am serious. I'm serious. And I said, but I'm gonna ask you one more time. I'm gonna ask you one more. Not tonight, because you're laughing too hard tonight. I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna ask you again one more time in the future, right? And so from then on, you know, uh, it was my quest to get myself together, right? So the next time that I asked her to marry me, that I had everything in order, and she didn't have any excuses to say no.
Well, can I pause? Why did you laugh at the man? Why did you laugh at the man? Why did you do that?
It was so funny because I thought it was a joke. I just, I, we're not ready for no getting married. I was like, oh, he's joking. So I just thought he was like telling a joke.
Okay,
I was
okay.
just, you know,
Because you just felt like you wasn't ready at the
right,
time.
right.
Okay.
And he was, like he said, he was, giving his number out to everybody. And I didn't know whether he was really saved or not. So I was like, and the mothers kept telling us, make sure these brothers can come around the church, and they get, they'll try to marry you, and then once you get them, they go back out in the world. So you got to make sure they marry. And that was all in my mind. I got to make sure that he's saved, truly saved, before I marry him.
Yeah, that didn't turn out too good. Just
It
that number out like
it
that.
did turn out. In my head, it was a good idea, but after it came out, it did turn out well at all. And
But you start getting yourself
but I
together.
got myself together.
Yes, sir.
As I got myself together over a year, and we, after a while, we really started, getting serious, and even before I officially asked her to marry me, Bishop was preaching in church one Sunday, and he
Bishop
was
Greenbrier
Bishop
Senior.
Bishop Senior, and he was preaching, and we was in Springfield Church, and I was sitting over the corner, and she was sitting in the choir stand, and he got to talk about marriage, and he turned around and he say, if that daughter there want to marry,
Oh, he said, son.
and he said, that Sunday, because I had moved, and he said that, and he was looking, so he specifically was looking for me, and he said, if my son right there want to marry my daughter right here, ain't nothing nobody got to say about it. And I said, he done gave me the okay.
That sounds good to me. See, I love this message.
Yeah, I got
this is a good message.
Preach, Bishop, preach.
Did you dance a little bit?
Look, I done dance.
You beat
beating
You was beating the drum.
Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. You got it, Bishop. And we always laugh because we really got serious. And I told her that I was going off in the military, and every time I told her something, she would laugh at me.
She laughed at that
She
too.
laughed at that too. She laughed. I told her I said, I'm finna go into the military, and she said, okay, and she just laughed. Right, her and Sister Stephanie, they both laughed, and I told them, I said, for real, y'all, I'm going to the military, right? And they said, They said, okay, okay, okay. And so one Friday night, I came back to church and I came late. And they was like, well, where were you? I say, I'm coming back from South Carolina. They say, well, what you were doing in South Carolina? I say, I would join in the military. And they said, you were serious? I said, yeah, I was serious. I said, and I'm taking you with me when I leave.
Did she laugh?
She just kind of looked. She didn't laugh that
She
time.
laughed
But
that
she just kind of looked. She was like, "This guy is serious," and so we came back and that Christmas, I I actually brought a ring, and we went. Me and her went shopping one day and into the grocery store, and we went and they had this glass of six uh, drinking glasses at the grocery store. And she said, "Ooh, those some nice glasses." And I said, "You know what? I'm gonna buy you those glasses for Christmas." And so she said, "I don't want no glasses for Christmas." I said, "Oh, you got to have those glasses, right?" And so I brought it for at around Christmas Eve. I came to her house, and I left the present to her house, and gave it to her, and I gave her a box, and she said, "What's this?" I said, "These are the glasses that we saw in Piggly Wiggly." And so,
In Piggly
she
Wiggly,
said, yeah.
okay.
And so I say, and don't open these glasses till tomorrow when I come back, right? And so I gave her thing, and I set them on the counter by her TV set, and everybody came to the house, right? And they said, "And what's this?" They said, she said, "Oh, that's the present from Robert." And they say, "You ain't open it." She said, "They ain't not but glasses." He already told me what it was. I don't care. I'm not going. I don't care nothing about those. Hey, and so finally I came back, and my wife is a present person. She's a gift person. She's the gift giver, and she like to get gifts, right? So in my mind, I knew she wasn't gonna wait the whole day uh, to open it. But when I got back, they were still sitting where I left them at. I said, "You didn't open them?" And she said, "I don't care nothing about no glasses." And then Stephanie came down, and Stephanie already knew because I had already told Stephanie. And
That's her
and
sister?
That's her sister, Stephanie Gadd.
Okay.
Yeah, and so she said, "Jen, why you didn't open the present?" Right? And she said, "I don't care nothing about no glasses." And so they went on, with it, they went on. And so it was getting kind of close to the evening. I told her, "Would you please open the glasses?" And
Sounds like something was in there.
she said, "Okay."
Okay.
And when she opened the glasses, the ring was inside the glasses, right? And I said, and I did the gentleman thing and got on one knee and asked her, "Would she marry me?"
Yes.
Right? This time she didn't laugh. She said yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so and then I talked to her mom and her dad and told them, and she said, "You ain't gotta do all that." I said, "Yes, I do." I said, "I gotta talk to everybody," and everybody was saying, "Well, we already know y'all was getting married. We just was trying to figure out when, right?" And so we went to our final thing. We went to Bishop to tell Bishop that it was our intent to get married and to get his advice from him. What do you think, right? And we had heard the story about people going to Bishop and how Bishop had gave them these long conversations concerning marriage and what they was getting into. And we got to Bishop House and we came in. I came in. I said, Bishop, um, my intent is to marry Sister Jennie. And Bishop said, Mother, Mother. And Mother Bryant came out the room and he said, these children getting married. And he said, and Mother said, oh, and she was so happy. She was hugging us and everything that day. And so I said, Bishop, we came for, the advice for getting married. Bishop said, I done taught y'all all these years. If y'all don't know now, y'all ain't gonna know. Right? He said, I knew y'all was gonna get married. I was just waiting on the date. And that was all he told us.
Don't you see?
Yeah. And so, and I told her she was, and I really appreciate her because, even in when we was sort of dating, we used to talk like she talked about we talked about everything. I mean, name it, and we talked about it. We shared our feelings with one another, and we didn't know, I hadn't said we was gonna get married, but she hadn't said yes. But all the time she was, sharing what she wanted from her husband.
Oh, so she was talking to you about
Yeah,
what she was looking for from her
Her
husband.
and I was telling her what I wanted in a wife. And we, and like I said, we was good friends. So people don't believe. People say, how did y'all date for 5 years? And we say because we love God, and we went out together and we did, but we had no intentions of blemishing one another, and so our relationship was a pure love, and I just enjoyed the time we spent with one another. We did just like the regular the people. We go out and then come back home and get on the phone and talk for another hour.
Did you ever listen to each other breathe?
Oh
You still there? You woke?
Yeah, you woke.
Exactly.
You ran out of stuff to say.
That's it.
But y'all just wanted to be together.
Be together. Just be together. Just be together. You know. And I talk about the hurricane story, and she always laughed because there was a hurricane warning out, and I called on the phone and I said, "Hey, how you doing?" And she said, "I'm doing okay." I said, "Well, the weather looked kind of bad." And she said, "Yeah." I said, "But I still come if you want me to come." She said, "Well, you don't have to because the weather's kind of bad." And then we got into, "You want me to come? You come if you want to. If you want to come, I come." Didn't just say yeah. All you had to do was say yeah.
You wanted him to come, didn't
She
you?
wanted me to come, but she ain't want to say she wanted me to come. She said, "Well, if you want to come, you can come." And that's all I needed to hear. I jumped in that car and took out. Because it was like a 30-minute drive from, because I lived in Savannah, she lived in Springfield.
I see.
Yeah, and so, we came back and we, so we did that and we getting to finally, got it. So we got married and enjoyed it. I told her when we was planning our wedding. She has a lot of friends. She always had a lot of friends, and I was off in basic training in AIT, so I was calling back, and she would tell me the friends, and I was coordinating through my friends over the phone. And then finally she called. I called one day and she said, "I got 2 more people." I said, "I ain't got no more friends." I'm out of friends. I ain't got no more friends. I done called all the friends that I could call. I said, nah, anybody else that I put in the wedding now, I'm gonna have to pay for them. which means they not gonna buy their own. They not gonna rent their own tuxedo. I'm gonna have to rent their tuxedo, and I'm gonna have to do all that because they really, they just people I kind of deal with. I had to got all the brothers out of church, and had to got all her brothers. I had the brothers in the church. I had my brother, and it was just, and I was still running out of brothers. So yeah, but
So now you got married. What year you get married?
what year we get married? 85.
85. So y'all got 38 years in. 38 years in. Now, y'all was friends before you got married, and you felt like you loved each other.
Felt like it.
Sister, did y'all really love each other, or did y'all have to learn some things about love along the way?
We had to learn some things about love along the way because after we got married, he was deployed, like he only stayed. We got married and he was gone in 7 days. So I was
my goodness.
I was a bride, and then husband left in 7 days, and he was gone. Well, his tour was a year, but he did come back in 6 months for like 10 days, 10
No,
months,
for 20 days.
20 days in December, and then he came back in May
In
or
May.
June
Uh-huh.
or something like that. So he, so we were still apart, but we wrote a lot of letters, and because he was in Korea, so we didn't talk that often. Maybe once a month.
Once a month.
Maybe
I was
once
gonna
a
say
month.
once a year.
Once a month,
Once
because
a
it was
month.
very expensive.
It was very expensive
at that
at
time.
that time. Yeah.
So, but we really didn't, when we went to in Virginia, and then that's when we was together, and that's when we had to learn it. That's when we really actually stayed together with. We was apart from everybody. That's my first time away from everybody, and so we had to learn to love. And at first I was getting up, like he had PT early in the morning, like he leave at 5:30. I was getting up 5:30 with him, and I was like, oh my God, this is a lot. But I got up, but he was coming back at like
Back at like 7.
7 at the PT and getting dressed and going back to class, and I'll be up just talking to him, and so after being together, I guess the love just built because we just start doing things for each other and depending on each other, and I don't I
'Cause they told me because when I came home, I had to go to school first. That's why we went to Virginia.
I see.
Right, and I was actually only supposed to be in school for 4 weeks, and when I was getting ready to leave, another class came in that the military wanted me to take, and so we ended up staying in Virginia almost 6 months. Yeah, almost 6 months. And so, and when I came home, I had been gone. I'm gone for a year. When I come home, I was determined. Wherever I went from then on, I was carrying my
You
wife.
gonna take your wife with you?
I was carrying my wife with me, no matter. Yeah.
So let me get this straight. And then I'm gonna let you go forward, but let me get this straight. So you went to basic,
I went to basic.
and that's when you proposed before you went to basic.
Proposed before I went to basic.
You proposed, then you went to basic,
Then I went to basic.
and then you got married after basic.
Basic and AIT, and then I came home and we got married.
And then y'all spent 7 days together,
7 days together,
and then a year apart.
A year apart.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then 7 days together. And then so so that's why I make the comment. I laugh, but I tell people all the time. Our first year married, we didn't have not one argument. You know,
That's the way to do it.
not one argument our first year married. I said everybody else argued their first year. We didn't have not one argument our first year married.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I said,
Because can you imagine you're on the phone call from Korea costing you all that money? Y'all
yeah, and we
fussing.
fussing.
No, we're not doing that.
We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do. We cherish every morning. I ain't got but 15 minutes. Man. We're gonna make this good. Make this 15 minutes good.
Yeah.
You know. And I tell you, we always talk about this. There was one time when I was in Korea, right, and I, because like she said, she was independent and she didn't really. I used to say, "Let me give you this. Let me give you that. Let me do this for you," And then she was like, "No, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that." And I would, just kind of go on that. And so one time this particular day, I, back then $100 was a lot of money, and so I got $100 bill, and I put it in the envelope in the card, and I put it in the mail, and I said, "Just because I love you," and I sent it to her, right, and later on I found out that when she was in church that Sunday, right, she had what, $20 left. How much?
Well, I had already put all my money in church, and he was asking for more. Asking for more. And I told Sister Stephanie, I said, "Well, I ain't got but $1. God knows I do. I got $1. At least I got my gas tank is full, so I get paid on Friday." I said, and Mama always give me lunch. I don't have to pay for lunch. I said, so I'm gonna put this $1 in church, and that's all I got, and wait till God bless me. And so Monday, when I went to the mail and got a letter from him, that's when the $100 bill was in the mail. From,
Yeah.
and I said, "See, God done blessed me already." I put my last dollar in church.
Yeah. The blessing was on the way.
On the way, yeah. And we all, I throughout our marriage and everything, I always, have done little things, and when people talk about bring your wife home flowers, that wasn't nothing new for me, because like when we was in Germany, they would have little flower shops, and I would come home and stop on the way home to the florist and get fresh flowers, and when those was dying, I would get new fresh flowers to keep her flowers thing, and we would go. I would stop to the bakery and get anything that she told me she liked it. I would get it and bring it home, and
Yes.
because and she took care of me in different ways, and like that day, because I couldn't keep up with nobody birthday and stuff, and I still can't, so I tell people all the time.
Yeah, I didn't even notice when I asked you when y'all got married. You turned to your wife and said,
I don't keep up with stuff like some things. I don't, and and the stuff that she knows I don't keep up with, right? She covers it. Don't forget to call your sister. It's her birthday. Don't forget to call this. It's this right here.
So you be looking good.
I look good. I look good.
You make the man look good. So let me ask you, what impact the flowers, the things that he knew that you liked, and he was doing those things for you. How did that impact you towards him?
That let me know he was paying attention to me, that he was paying to little details. A lot of times people, big details, men, in particular, you all can, big things y'all can notice, but this the little thing. Like if I say, like he said, the little pastries, it's like all pastries in Germany are not sweet. So you got to really know what you're doing to get one. And so he would, if I said I like one, or I said, oh, somebody at the job had this, and it was really good. And the next thing I know, he'll come home with one, and all. So it's just the little things that he do, and it wasn't no big elaborate gifts and stuff like that. Just the little things that he used to do, and like he used to have cards. I wake up. When you wake up in the morning, you sleepy eyed, but then he got a big old card on the mirror, and inside of his like so sweet and all of that. And then I'll go downstairs and he'll have fresh flowers on the table with another card. He have cards all over, and where he knew I was gonna go to during that day, and I'll just go somewhere and there go a card, and I was like, oh, and I'm calling him on the phone, and some of my friends was like, oh, he just a sucker for you, and just the little details things that he pay attention to.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Talking about their love, and really, this actually can be a great benefit to some of the young couples that are out there now, the newlyweds, and really, if you want to grow your love, because here's the thing about it, is love grows.
Oh, yes.
That's why I ask you. I say, well, and I'm not saying y'all didn't love each other. I'm not saying that. I'm not
I
saying that.
understand. We definitely understand. Look, we definitely understand. Exactly.
Yeah, because I thought I loved my wife before I married her. But after you get married and you start, I tell you, that love starts really growing, and it's long suffering. It endures things. It's kind, and it's got all these different components in it, and it's more than just saying I love this person, and it's more than this just warm fuzzy feeling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
And so sometimes people don't really know what love is, but you grow in it.
Yes.
You grow in it.
Yes. And finance, I tell people all the time, finance plays a major part in marriage, and folks don't really realize how much finance. I've seen finances break up so many marriages.
Yes.
And and oftentimes, and I've given some of my testimony about the hard times we went through, but we was there together.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And we it was like, what could I do to support you in this? It wasn't like, how you gonna do this? I ain't got no money. It was like, okay, all right. If that's the case, then I need to cut back on this. I need to do this. I need to make this. I need to stretch this. I need to make this grow. And I need to be, because I know you got to get up and you got to do this. You got to keep on doing this right there, like she talked about. I mess with her all the time, because like she was saying, when we first got married, she used to get up at 5:30 in the morning and fix me breakfast, and I go to PTE. When I come back, breakfast would be cooked, and by the time I go to work, I went up. So man, this is how life's supposed to be. I was like, man, this is great. This is wonderful. Then she got a job. And my breakfast went away. And I was like, wait a minute. What happened to my breakfast every morning? What happened to my breakfast?
Then you get spoiled.
Yeah. But she, like she said, we talked. She said, well, babe, sometime I'm not gonna have the time to do that anymore. You know what I'm saying? And I said, well, it's that's not what's important. What's important is that we help each other.
Yes.
Along the way, let's figure out the best way to make this work. And so, I see, because I see you working like I'm working, and something that we making things happen, and the only thing I said is, I made a bad agreement with her when I said, first one come home cook. And I tell you, that was not that. I don't think that was a good agreement that I made.
That's almost like passing out them numbers.
Yeah. Some situations, it sounded good when I made the agreement. Okay, first one home cook. And so I was like, I came home and I'm cooking, and she walked in the house with bags from the stove. I said, how did you, and so, how I said, what happened? You know, and so she said, well, I had to stop and get this. I had to stop and get this. And then one day I say, well, every day you gotta stop and get something. And she bust out laughing. She had a good habit of laughing at me. Now I'm telling you. So once again, she laughed at me, and she said, "Well, okay, all right. But she, I didn't mind because I like to in the kitchen. I like to cook different things and say how this tastes and how this tastes and that day. And she knew that, and I think she kind of took the advantage.
Took advantage of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's shaking her head. So she was paying attention too.
She was paying attention. So, yeah.
But there's one thing I want to say when we talk about young people, young marriages. We always said recognized or identified as not only are you my husband, you are my brother in Christ.
Absolutely.
And I'm your sister in Christ. So we got to treat each other like that. Just like you would treat your brother or sister, in Christ at the church, you still have to treat me like that too. And we agreed, that was another thing that we agreed upon. And so that's why we maybe had disagreement, but we have never, 38 years, have never had a blown out disagreement where we just, I have never said I want to call my parents to go home. I have never said that. We have never went out, slammed doors, and we have never did that because even if we, like I said earlier, he will not argue. I could talk all day, and he'll just sit there, or he'll just say, "You finished?" Or, "Babe, I'm getting ready to leave the room." He will not stay there and go back and forth, and that was something I had to learn. But we made sure that we had to treat each other like we were like the brother and sister in Christ. We had to keep that always in our mind that we can't, even though we're husband and wife. And sometimes people think because you're my husband or wife, you can just say anything or treat them in a way. But because you're my brother and sister in Christ, we have to remember that. That's important.
That's a good thing to think about because you're exactly right. I recognize that sometimes people will go to work, they be kind, courteous, meet people on the street, kind, courteous, come home, all the courtesy's gone. They done got so common to each other. It's like, you ain't no please, ain't no thank you, real short with each other. But then you're kind and courteous to strangers, but then you come home and you don't bring that courtesy home. And I believe that that's really important. And sometimes you get common with people, and then you just treat them like you can say anything to them, and really you're devaluing the relationship when you do that. Yeah. So I'm glad you brought that in.
Yeah, I'm glad too, because that's one thing we always said. A friend of mine made a statement many years ago, and I laughed about it. I said I thought I was the only one felt like that because some of the guys was talking, and military sometimes they get to talking to them that day, and the guy he got up and he said, I don't care what y'all say, I'm not gonna let none of y'all break my happy home up. I got a happy home. I ain't letting none of y'all out here break up my happy home, right? And I told him I agree. I don't care what these jokers say here. They can say what they want to say. They can talk about all they do, all they can get away with. I said, but I'm not finna let them break up my happy home. When I go home, I'm gonna cherish my wife. I'm gonna love her. I'm gonna cherish her. I'm gonna let her know, that God is first in my life, and then she right after that. And so but one of the things that we learned, like I say, we had to learn how to support each other. Because it was different aspect in growth in life, and even when I was going through the military, as I was going through the different ranks, I didn't probably go out a whole lot, but I came home and I had to do a lot of studying. And one of the things that she did, she read the books that I had to read. Right. And so she would ask me questions, come home, and I was like, how you know that? How do you know that? How do you do it? What? What how do you and so she would read the books that I had to read.
And she helped you.
She helped me by asking me questions and stuff she said, did you know this right here? And I was like, well, how you know that? She says, in your book. The book that you supposed to be reading.
So she was motivating you. And she was kind of urging you on.
To go ahead on and do what you're supposed to do. And even when we was in college, we laugh about it. We had our son, and we was in college, and we both was taking college courses at the same time. And literally, I had to take the early classes, and she took the evening classes. And when I got out of class, she would literally be standing outside the classroom with my son in her hand and say, okay, this is what he needs, hand the baby off. We used to call it our handoff. Yeah, our handoff. We'd make the handoff, and I said, what time you get out of class? She'd tell me what time she got out of class, and because that time we had one car. It wasn't no two cars and all that. We had one car, and we had to make it work. And we made it work.
Oh man, you bringing some memories back to me, man. I hadn't thought about some stuff, man, for a while, but I mean, I get it, man, and how that actually increases your love.
It does.
The trials, the tribulation, the working together, the supporting one another. My wife and I, we married young. And I was 19. She was a little older than me too, and but I wasn't finished with my education. She wasn't finished with hers, and so then the child come, almost immediately. We weren't ready, and then here come this child, and so then we just had to work together, and to finish education, to raise the children, and we just supporting each other all the way, And I say that to say that. Even some of the young couples now, you don't have to have it all figured out before you get married.
You don't.
How do I say this? Because I got to say this right, because you don't want to just marry anybody.
Absolutely.
Okay. But if the person of the two people have the right character, you don't have to have a lot of stuff. Sometimes you get caught up the bank account and this and that. Not necessarily, because I'm gonna be honest. I didn't have it. I didn't have it. I didn't have it. I didn't. But I had character.
Absolutely.
And if the women can figure that out, and then the men too, you need to be looking for character in that woman. Not all this stuff, but the right foundation. And then I tell you, you can work together on all that other stuff. You really can. But you don't miss that character part. Because if a person got money and great credit score and all this stuff, but don't have no character, oh my God, you about to make a mess.
You are so right. You are so right.
It's on you, Pastor.
You are. That is so right. I have listened to my wife. Young sisters have came into the house, and she has been talking to them, right? And I heard one young lady make the comment, but you got all us. And my wife said, and that's 20-something years. At that time, it was, what I'm saying? She told him, she said, and that's what you looking at is not at your stage. This is 20-something years of being together and traveling and in penny pinching and doing. That's what this is. She said, what you trying to do, you're trying to get here when you're not here yet. Grow where you are. And I was like, wow.
That's why she Mother
That's
Reynolds.
why she's Mother. Yeah, that's why she's Mother Reynolds. And she told, and I listened to, those kind of things, and those are the kind of things that we have to tell people. You know, this didn't come overnight. No, by no means did this come overnight. This came through some sweat, some blood, and some tears.
Yeah. And not just the stuff, but the love.
The love.
And what you see, that chemistry that we see in your relationship, it's working even now.
Right.
That chemistry that you have, that's like I was speaking to your wife and how y'all can finish each other's sentences and thoughts, or even say something that you was already thinking, but you hadn't shared it yet. But now one of you saying what the other one is thinking. Well, even the scripture talks like two becomes one. And if you really pay attention to each other, you actually begin to know each other in a special way, like you didn't know before you got married. In 38 years, y'all know each other better than.
Now we do.
Yeah.
And I tell people, and now people can say something, and I can literally say that didn't happen. Not the way you saying it. Or I could say, yep. That's exactly
Spot on.
Yeah, that was spot on. That was spot on. What somebody told me one time. They say, and your wife said, "I'm gonna stay safe," and I said, "She sure did." And they looked at me, and they say, "What?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Ain't no doubt in my mind that she told you that." And I don't even know what the conversation was. But I know she told you that she was gonna stay safe, regardless of what it is. I say because that she will let you know. Now I'm not gonna let you get me to the point where it's gonna get me out of my salvation. I'm gonna stop and walk away first. But because I'm gonna stay safe. My goal in life is to stay safe. We tell people all the time when we first got married. Because we was both saved before we got married. Not we first got married. Before we got married, we made this one agreement.
It's like a contract.
A contract. Should you get crazy one day and leave God, you're gonna be on your own. Because I'm not gonna leave God.
Because what her saying is, I'm gonna stay safe.
Yeah. And she said, well, me and you got the same sheet of music, so well, we both need to stay in God because the other one is not leaving God because we left God. And we stand firm on that.
Yes.
I love you. Whatever the whole 9 yards is, according to the scriptures, I know my responsibility.
Yes.
Right, and I know what I have to do, but I'm not gonna leave God.
I'm glad you brought that up too, because I sometimes people will do that though. Like if the husband or the wife, fall off, then they gone too.
Right.
But I think about a situation in the scripture where a man didn't do that. Lot and his wife, they were told, don't, get out of the city, don't look back. His wife looked back, but somehow or another, Lot just kept on traveling. He made it out without his wife because she looked back, but he didn't. He didn't. By some means, he didn't do it.
Right.
And I tell this to other people: don't do that. Don't do that. In fact, the beautiful thing about sounds like this in your relationship is God. And you said it already. You said he first. Right. You close second. You right there. You right there under God. You said that to your wife. And you got the same testimony by him. I would tell any couple, that's the way it's supposed to be. If you put God first, then he gonna order you in the rest of it, and you're gonna have a beautiful relationship. Because he ain't gonna let you do all that crazy stuff. He ain't gonna let you do it. You go. If God is first, you're gonna treat that wife right.
That's right.
If God is first, you're gonna treat your husband right. Put God first. But sometimes what couples do, and you probably done counsel plenty too, the marriage is first. That's wrong.
Right.
That's wrong. And you trying to figure out your husband and how you going to do the right thing for your husband, but you ain't figured out what you're going to do for God.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you just striving with that marriage, but God ain't number one in your life. See, now things out of order in your life. That's what's going on.
That's it.
That's what's going on. You got something.
I just would like for the not only the young married couple, but even the older one. Like sometimes us as females, we 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 strive at education and all, so we get a better job. You know, we our education causes us to get a better job than our spouse. Our spouse is still the head of the household, no matter what kind of job it is. But we can't. We still got to make him feel like he is superior. We got to make him feel good. We can't down him because his job, you know, the salary thing might not be the same. But if we won, the salary is the same because that's one salary.
Yes.
And so we got to learn how. And even if he makes more than you or what, however the situation, we got to make him still feel good about himself and that he is important to you. That you got to make him feel that he's somebody to you, whether anybody else think he's all that or not. But let him think that you think that he's all that.
Yes.
And we just have to support our husband, and once you support him and give him that that push that he needs, he'll do things, because you know I do that to my husband all the time. And even when my husband get through preaching sometime, and I tell him, I said, boy, God was working with you today. I say, because that message was good. I let him know that, you know, hey man, I got something out of that word. So I tell him what I say, this is what I got out of the word that you preached today and all. And I say, just keep on going and keep on studying, keep on letting the Lord keep on blessing. I try to encourage him.
Right.
I don't want to discourage him and, you know, let him don't say anything about, because I hear other people telling him, but I'm the closest to him. I want him to know that I appreciate him
From you.
and then my husband know for a long time. And he know I love him. But for a long time, it took me a long time to call him pastor, because I told him that I had one pastor, and that was Bishop Bryant Sr. And it took me a long, and I think when I told him, I called him pastor, that was the happiest day of his life. And because a long time.
That done graduated now.
I've been there now.
He said, and that was before Bishop passed too. It was a long time. I think we was overseas, and I told him, and I said, "Oh yeah, you my pastor now." And he was like, "Oh, I don't got up there."
Oh, I'm in there
yeah,
now.
but you know, that's just seeking the Lord for guidance for myself.
Yeah.
So then, when I see the Lord for guidance for myself, the Lord show me the things that I need to improve in, and then who knows themselves better than than God. And so when God say, "I need you, you know, to do this, show your husband more support in this area. I need you to do this in this area." Not only because a lot of time we do things and we'll say, "Okay, we go in to God and I'm working hard in the church." But if I'm not working hard in my home, because as a woman, my first priority is to make sure that my house is taken care of. He's going to provide. Now I got to take care. It's my job to take care of it and make sure everything runs right in there. So I am so
I'm sorry.
but I can't turn it off. But that's what we have to do.
Right.
We have to make sure that we put, you know, we support our husband.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
And oftentimes, I thought I turned that thing off.
Yeah. I think we had a little issue before.
That thing there.
But and so that's wonderful, Mother. That you've been able to accomplish that over the years and support your husband, and your love has grown to what it is today. And so, Pastor Reynolds, you love your wife.
I do.
You love your husband.
Yes.
And she's laughing.
Yeah, and she laughing. Look, 30, she's still laughing after all these years. Yeah.
But here's the beautiful
Yeah.
thing. It is a wonderful thing to have laughter in your marriage,
Oh,
in your home. And y'all look like y'all best friends to each
Oh,
other.
yes. Oh,
And I'm really trying to motivate young couples and well, it don't even make no difference about the young or me. Be best friends to each other.
yes.
Love one another. Forgive one. Things ain't happen like you. Forgive it. Let it go. Release it. Go forward. Love is a beautiful thing, and it endures all things. It hopeth all things. Believeth all things. It's kind. It's not puffed up. Not easily provoked.
Provoked.
Thinking no evil.
Evil, that's it.
Exactly.
Hallelujah. Well, this is not a message. But I still feel good.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I feel good. I feel good. Closing remarks.
Yeah, when and I have always said when you love someone, you'll go above and beyond
Yes.
for them.
Yes.
And we have always done that for each other.
Yes.
We I tell people we had our bumps and our issues. None of them we allowed to get out of hand because they could have gotten out of hand, but we didn't allow them to get out of hand. And so we always look for guidance from the Lord. And how do we take the situation? How do we go forth with the situation? How we, even in the rearing of our son, we brought him up that he didn't do like everybody else did, and we used to always say, because we can't let you go out and do that and we don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Because we got to bring you up in the right way. And so now I think he appreciates, not being able to do all the things they do. And I know he did some things that, I'm not gonna say he was the best kid in the world. He did some things that that because he wanted to be adventurous and try stuff, and I know that. But he never got so far out that he didn't want to come back to the Lord. And I think that came from the teaching and instilling God in him, and kept God, and we taught him to have God first in his life. So we always have God, and I'll tell anybody, like, we done said it 2 or 3 times, if you gotta have God first in your life. You gotta have open communication. You got to be able to share with one another and express to one another how you really feel, and then you'll be able to make it because you understand one another. You can look at us, and then you can get to that point after them years that you can finish somebody's sentence. Or you can taste something and say, "Ooh, my wife would love this." You know what I'm saying? Because y'all know each other just that much.
Yes. So that's wonderful. Closing remarks.
Oh, well, I just want to say that. You have, repeating what he said, you have to have God, but you got to have God individually. You have to individually have God and then come together, and then God can make the relationship supernaturally, wonderfully. But you got the key thing to any good marriage. You got to have God individually. You got to want God. You got to want to live right. You got to want to do right. And if you treat each other right, everything will be okay. Yeah, the enemy gonna come in and try to, throw some buff, but because you have God, he will teach you how to calm the storm and weather the storm, and just be happy. But the main thing, be happy in your marriage. If you marry that person, be happy. Just do little things together and just be happy. Sit down, look at a movie, and pop your own popcorn. You don't have to go to the movie theater and put on some fuzzy socks and, and rub your feet.
Yes,
what
and
I'm
now you're
saying?
talking. Wait till the end.
Yeah, that's it.
Give all this good information.
So that's what you have to do. Just be happy.
Yes, and I like what you say, God. And God is love. And he was talking about our love, and God is love. And so when you get God, you get love. and he will instruct you and guide you into all truth, and he can bless your marriage, bless your home, and we need God.
Oh, yeah.
We need God. So I need my husband, I need my wife to do this. You need God first, and then God's love, when he come in, like you said, individually, it comes in the man, it comes in the woman, then they come together, and then you ain't gonna have nothing but love. You might have some things that'll come up, but love will help you to resolve that thing. And you can speak the truth in love and
That's right.
deal with one another with the love of God. Growing in Grace family, we're glad that you've been here with us to listen to this conversation from Pastor Elder Reynolds and Mother Jennie Reynolds. And we're glad that you've been here with us to hear this conversation as they have shared the love that they have toward one another with us, and given us some insight into how they've been able to make it. 38 years, trials, tribulation, some money, no money, little money. Now they got some, and they're going on up. And when you come into God and let God be first in your life, he can bless your marriage, your home. And even if you don't have a husband or a wife now, God can bless you to find that right spouse that you can grow with. And so come back again. We would like for you to like, share, and subscribe to this Growing in Grace podcast. May the Lord bless you, and may heaven smile upon you. Until next time, come on back.